everybody, and welcome to our Monday Addiction Recovery Support Group. This is a video that we do every day of the week on this Facebook page to provide support and help to anyone who is in recovery or anyone who wants to um, get into recovery from addiction or mental health issues. So, welcome. My name is Kelly Kirk, and I am a recovery coach and certified peer support specialist in Richmond County, North Carolina. So let me read our little introduction really quick just to cover the rules and everything. So, welcome to the Facebook Live online recovery support group supported by the Sandhills Opioid Response Consortium. This is a forum where people in recovery can come together. We are here to encourage and support individuals in their recovery journey by sharing our own experience, strength, and hope. Our meetings consist of daily readings, meditations, devotionals, and open discussions. We only ask that when sharing, you adhere to the rules and guidelines of this page. All recovery paths are welcome, and please feel free to share your questions or comments throughout the meeting. And all you have to do is type your comments or questions, or if you have any input or you want to talk about anything, or if you're going through a hard time, we can definitely talk about it. Or, if you want to talk to me outside of this, you can always instant message me or any of the other peer supports that are on this page. So again, my name is Kelly Kirk. I'm in Richmond County, North Carolina, and I am a peer support specialist, which means that I'm in recovery myself, and I'm in recovery from drugs, opioids mostly. I used for at least solid for 10 years, and it was part of my life. I mean, I just was always on something. So, but for the last 6 years, I've been in recovery. I've been to rehab many times, and this last time that I went in 2014, it just really stuck with me. And, everybody's got their own rock bottom. And I think a lot of times we think that we've hit rock bottom, but then we have farther to fall, because addiction is a beast and it's very, very strong. And people that haven't had any experience with addiction, I don't think they realize how hard it really is to break free from it. But today I thought we would talk about living a clean life. So to me, you hear people talking nowadays about a clean life, and I think what they mean is like a clean diet, eating clean food and exercising and all. I'm not talking about any of that. I'm talking about living a life of integrity, because in addiction, like, you're not doing a lot of good things. You're not living right. You're being selfish. You're lying. You're depressed. You're like got this dark cloud on you, and you're obsessed with using, and you've got to hide it, and you've got to cover your tracks, and you're constantly self-analyzing yourself and being hard on yourself because you're not supposed to be doing the drugs, but you're doing them anyway, so you have to justify it, and you just going through this whole mental thing all the time. Plus you're trying to keep up with your drug use and in your normal life at the same time. And of course drugs bring a lot of problems, with the law, with your job, with your community, and it's a big problem. So like for me, now that I'm in recovery and living a pretty good life now, it is just so nice to be able to not have to worry about all that anymore, and so I try to live a life of integrity now, and it's much easier now that drugs are out of the picture. It's so much easier. But one of my goals in living a clean life is to be honest. And like I was saying, in active addiction, I was lying. I was lying to others. I was lying to myself. I was lying to cover my tracks. I mean, I I mostly took prescription drugs, but I saw many different doctors. So I wasn't actually lying, like making up stories, but I was not being honest. I was being dishonest. And, I had to cover my tracks. And then, when you lie, you have to keep lying because you have to cover that first lie. And then it just becomes a lifestyle. And you have to try to always be on guard because you have to watch what you say. Hey, Shay. I'm glad you came on here. Sorry I was late, man. But anyway, and Shay actually inspired me earlier. We were talking, and she talked about being honest. She talked kind of about that. But anyway, it got me thinking. So anyway, I'm talking about an addiction. You're always lying and covering your tracks and being dishonest. But it's like a job because you're constantly having to remember what you said last time and make sure, what did I tell him and what did I tell her, and keep the lie going. And you're like downplaying your addiction and justifying, and there's this whole, like I said, it's just like a whole mental thing going on. And Shay says true. So but once I started, living in recovery for a while, I didn't need to do that anymore. I could actually just be honest and just be open and be telling the truth because I wasn't, I didn't have all this undercurrent stuff going on. I could just be honest about who I was. And I love that, recovery is more embraced these days. More and more it's becoming like mainstream to for someone to be in recovery from addiction. And so it's becoming more acceptable to be able to trust people that are addiction, people that are recovering from addiction. And so it's really nice. But I try to be honest now all the time. Of course, I still slip up here and there, but some of the small stuff. But it's like I notice now if I don't tell the truth, I get this little ping in my gut. And that tells me, hey, you know what? Don't be doing that. Like, watch it. So secondly, for me to live a clean life, I need to be doing the right thing. And doing the right thing feels good. And when you're using, you are doing the wrong thing. And it makes you feel bad about yourself. You have this negativity cloud over you all the time because you're not living right. And when I was high, I made bad decisions. And all the time. And some of my bad decisions were like life changing bad decisions that I had to live with for many years, because I wasn't thinking clearly. And I had to live with those decisions. Or because I was high, I acted out of emotion a lot. That was a huge thing for me. I mean, it was like whatever my gut feeling tell me, I would just act on that and think about it later. Somebody made me mad, I'd lash out. Or if I felt wronged, I would like get them back. And that's how I lived. I just lived off the cuff. Like whatever I felt at that moment, I was going to say something, I was going to do something, and it caused a lot of problems for me. And I wasn't thinking things through. And I've really learned now that I need to stop and think about decisions before I make them. And that's hard to do. I mean, it's hard to go from someone who just acts on their emotions to being someone who is more reserved. It's not natural for me. It's very not natural. I have to on purpose force myself to be like, wait a minute, I think I need to think about this for a while before I make a decision. And I think it takes practice for me anyway. I mean, I'm getting slowly better at it, but I really need to stop and think before I make decisions. And even sometimes hold off, for a day or two till I've had time to let my emotions calm down and make sure that I'm making a logical decision rather than just acting up, on the moment. But I heard something somewhere in rehab or something that really stuck with me because it makes sense. And they said that people in addiction, this is how they process life. First, they feel, and then they act, and then they think. So they feel something, they act on it, and later they think about it. But normal people, they feel and then think and then act. So I always try to remember that first I need to feel the feelings, then think about it, and after I've thought about it and felt about it, then make a decision and act. But that was totally me. I would feel, act, and then think. So I that's something I need to reprogram myself to do. Um, Doing the right thing means doing what you know is right and not doing what you know is wrong. And that's not something that comes natural to everybody. I mean, I was kind of a rebellious kid and I was always getting into trouble and sneaking around and so it was kind of normal to me to do bad things. Some people are like, "No, I can't do that." And I would just do it. And so I didn't really have that filter. So I had to like let that grow on me and I had to adapt once I was older. Yeah, normal people, Shay. If there is such a thing as normal people. Shay said normal people. But anyway, so yeah, doing the right thing means doing what you know is right and not doing what you know is wrong. And now I try to think first, like, is this something that's going to be good for me? I'm talking about when I make a decision. I think about that. I'm like, I try to like play the tape through and think about like down the road. If I make this decision now, like if I say something about this now, what's going to happen down the road? Because I didn't used to do that. I used to just do it and I would deal with the consequences later. But now I try, and it doesn't always happen, but I try to do it as much as I can. Think about something first and think about if this is something that's going to benefit me. Is this the right decision? And what will happen if I make this decision? Is this going to be, what could happen if I decide to do this? Is it going to backfire on me? Is it going to benefit me down the road? And so I try to like pose those questions to myself before I make decisions now so that I can learn how to make good decisions in recovery. And I noticed that once I started in recovery and I was established for a while and I was being honest and living an honest life and doing the right thing more and more, I started being like more sensitive to the small things. Like Joyce Myers talks about how she tries to live a life, of integrity. And she talks about how at the grocery store, she puts her cart away, and that really struck a chord with me because I didn't used to do that. I would just push my cart up to the front of my car and leave. I wasn't going to put that cart up. Or, like if you put some stuff in your cart at the store and then you're like, oh, I'm not going to buy that. And you just like put it right there on the shelf, even though it's like a frozen item or something, you just throw it up there. I try not to do that now. I go the extra mile and go all the way back to the frozen aisle and put it back where I got it. And it makes me feel good. It's like, yeah, I'm doing the right thing now. I'm living a life of integrity. I'm a good person now. I'm actually doing it. I'm being a good person. So I think that's another important thing if you're trying to live a clean life. Let's see what else my notes have to say. Yeah. I did have a selfish attitude. When I was in active addiction and everything, it was all about what I needed and making sure that I was taken care of. And now I notice that I want to do what's good for everybody. It's like a good feeling once you're living in recovery and you're doing things right and things are going good. You want to do good for other people too. You know, and But back to the thing about the grocery store, I was going to say, I went to Walmart the other day, and when I got out to the car, I was putting all the bags in the back hatch of my car, and I saw something in my cart that I did not ring up. And I was like, oh my God, okay, do I just throw this in my car and take it home like I used to? Or do I actually take it back in the store and freaking pay for it? You know? And so I did. I took it back in there and I paid for it. And I'm trying to explain to the girl why I'm bringing this back through the checkout thing. But, so anyway, I paid for it, and it felt really good to do that, even though it took extra time and I had to go out of my way. It was still my fault that I didn't see that in the cart. And so Walmart shouldn't have to pay for that. But in the olden days, I would have been like, yeah, man, I didn't even have to pay for this. So it's like big changes that happen when you're in recovery, big and small. And then also, another thing about living a clean life is caring about and helping other people. And I talk about this a lot. But like I was saying, when I was in active addiction, I was pretty much consumed with myself. And not that like I thought that I was hot or anything, or I was more special than anybody else, but I was just always like stewing on my problems and what I needed to do and how was I going to work this out and how am I going to think about this to make it okay, and what am I going to it was just like this whole mind thing. And now that all that's gone, it's like I'm not secretive and I'm not selfish anymore. And there was that Kelly that was like secretive and selfish, but then there was also the Kelly that other people saw. And I was out of balance and I didn't really like who I was deep down. But now that I've been in recovery for a while and I've been living a positive, productive life, and I'm thinking good thoughts and doing the right thing more and more, I've noticed that my thoughts are matching up with my actions, and I'm happier than I was before, and I'm in a good mood more because I don't have all this dark stuff hanging over my head anymore. I'm like free from all that. I'm like free from the slavery that is addiction. And when I started working as a peer support, I really didn't know how it was going to go. Thank you, Shay. Shay says I'm doing very well being a good person. I'm trying, but I don't think it comes naturally for me. But I'm gonna make it happen. Um, but when I started working as a peer support, I didn't really know how it was going to work out. We didn't have a peer support program in this county, and it was all new. And we all took the training, and we had the book knowledge and everything. And then they put me here at the health department, and I didn't really know how it was going to go. I just knew that I wanted it to be successful, and I worked at it, and I got some clients. And when I got to know them and everything, I realized they were like really cool people, and especially like Shay. Me and Shay talk all the time. She's like super cool. But some of the clients that I had, when I started working with them and sharing with them that I've had problems, just almost just like their problems, and that I've been through it, and that they can, get over it, and they can get past it, and they can put the work in and make their lives better. It was like really rewarding for me. And I think there's like a special connection when you're talking to somebody who's been where you are versus somebody that's just, a counselor that has the degrees and everything, which is great, but they don't have that one thing, which is lived experience. So, as I'm working with clients and stuff, I'm getting a lot out of that too. You know, it's rewarding for me to help other people and to care about other people. And I never imagined that that's how it would be. I always imagined that, caring about other people and taking care of other people and helping other people would take away from my life, but it really doesn't. It really adds to my life. So, let's see. Hold on. I think the last thing was hang on. Darn it. Okay, the last one is having faith. Sorry. Okay. So this is a touchy subject because it's about religion and not everybody believes the same. But I think that having faith is a big part of living a clean life of integrity because when you have something that's higher than you, that's bigger than you, that's more powerful than you, it can make a big difference in changing your life. If you're trying to change your life, you really need help. You really need expert help. And for me, I needed to partner with God because I realized I couldn't recover on my own and I needed help, and I was always worried about how am I going to do this? And I have to make so many changes and, you know, what do I do? What's the first thing to do? And am I going to be able to do this? And, is this going to be worth it for me? And that was a lot of worrying and that was a lot of stress. And I really couldn't do it on my own. And so I decided to partner with God and talk to Him and be like, I need your help here. I need like divine intervention. And whenever I would worry about things, I would just hand them over to God. I would be like, I cannot worry about this anymore. There's nothing I can do. This is bigger than me. And I need help. And it was almost like letting go of the problem, and that's hard to do sometimes when you're really worried about something. You want to keep worrying about it because you feel like if you keep worrying about it, somehow it will resolve or you'll come up with a solution. But a lot of times things are bigger than we are. And when you have a higher power, you can hand those worries over to Him and let Him take care of it and stop worrying and just say, whatever happens, happens. I trust you and I want to change and I need you to help me and just give it to God. And it's a relief. For me, it was a big relief to just let go and just do my best and see what happens. So, so yeah, pretty much I used to think that I would never escape addiction and the bad decisions I was living with. But finally, I think I hit rock bottom and I wanted to change and I decided to change. And I had truly had enough. And I opened up my mind to something new and I embraced it. And I have a long way to go, but at least I'm not where I was before. And for that, I am very, very grateful. So that's about all I have today. So if anybody has anything they want to say to me or anything, just instant message me. And I really appreciate you coming on, Shay. And for anybody who watches this in the future, thanks for watching. Y'all have a great day.